Ann Hull. I'm an unknown in the political arena, so I'm going to give you a quick background of me so you have some familiarity with where I come from and who I am. I was born and raised here in Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up in Congressional District 3. I was born at Central in Maryland. I went to school at Madison Meadows, Central High School, Arizona State University. I raised my children in this district. I've operated my business in this district. I still live in this district. I have owned and operated my own construction company for 26 years. Residential and commercial, hold multiple licenses. I am a general contractor, residentially and commercially, as well as an unlimited trim carpentry and window supplier and installer. I've been married 30 years, which tells you how great my negotiating skills are. I have 4 children, 2 boys that currently serve in the military, one who is Air Force Honor Guard, currently stationed in Washington, D.C., and doing a tour in the Pentagon right now, so very, very proud of him. My other son is in the Army, just got back from Haiti on a humanitarian mission. And my daughter, who is married, my 3 grandchildren from her, and then my youngest son is 14. So I have a very long history of raising children, and I have a full house. I currently have 9 people living in my house right now. And some of that is due to the economic hardship that we've all faced here. That is something that will lend itself to making me a great candidate and a person to send to Washington, is that background and that struggle that we have faced. My business has faced many ups and downs in the time period that I've been in business, some that are very, very, very fruitful, and some that are not. And this last year, I have never really had any aspirations for running for Congress or any political position at all. I was very, very content raising my family and running a business. My business provided for my family. That's where my heart is. That's who I am. That's what I wanted to do. And as long as that business supported that endeavor, I was content with that. I loved traveling and seeing my sons wherever they are, and that's where my heart is. But this last year unraveled my life. It unraveled my business, and it unraveled my family. And it led me to Washington a year ago in March. I spent my money and I flew to Washington, D.C. to meet with my senators, my congressmen, Senator John McCain, Senator Kyle, John Shadegg. I made appointments with the Small Business Administration. Any organization that I could see back in Washington, D.C., I saw. I wrote letters to Wells Fargo, Bank of America, American Express, expressing my deep frustration with where our country was headed. The dispersion of the stimulus funds that in theory were going to go and help and solidify and strengthen the small businesses that did not do that. They stopped at the banks and were not distributed onwards and were continuing to strangle us. So it was the culmination of the great storm this last year. For me, I had builders and contractors that had been with me for 26 years because of the kind of business that I ran, my leadership skills and my commitment to servanthood. I believed that in the long run, if you served your customer, that I would be served and my family would be served. And I did that at whatever cost that was, and sometimes that meant that I lost money. But in the long run, that benefited my company and it took care of the customer. That's the same thing that I want to do back in Washington. But with the things that were happening with the unraveling, not only did some of those customers, well, not even some of them, the majority of my customers are gone. The majority of my builders are either out of business or some of them have left me owing me $250,000. With no recourse, you know, I can hire an attorney, but that costs money and time. And really, when you're in this kind of position, the last thing you want to do is expend any more money than you've already lost. So that's why I went to Washington, was to have a voice, to go and fight for small businesses like myself, for contractors like myself, for middle-class America people. We have people that are fighting for both extremes, the wealthy and the lower class. I wanted to fight for people, real people like me, just everyday citizens, people, hardworking citizens. With the culmination of businesses and builders going out of business, I watched my lines of credit going from extremes. I'll give you an example. American Express, I went from $180,000 a month credit limit with a perfect 16-year payment history to $10,000 in 1 month with no reason. So you combine the lack of business with the lack of lines of credits and nobody in Washington listening, no banks listening, and no ability, no voice here, led me to run for office. And really it started as a flip decision. When I heard that John Shattuck was not going to be running for office, I thought, why not me? I'm the perfect candidate for this. I represent middle-class small business America. I know I have 2 more minutes.
She guaranteed me this is a really good. See, it's got a real nice clock on it.
Okay. All right. So what I'm here to do is represent people like myself. This position, the House of Representatives, was designed for volunteer farmers to go back to Washington and represent their communities, not career politicians and not attorneys. I'm the farmer. I'm today's farmer. I am the business owner of today. Send me to Washington to represent you because I know what you are dealing with.
Thank you, ma'am.